When creating Python programs, you'll likely want to populate data in your application automatically or save data between a user's sessions. Databases help you do this. They provide an organized structure so you can easily manage, access, and store large amounts of data. Databases can also make your application more sophisticated by offering tools to help you manage inventory, process orders, and make recommendations. Especially with Python, data stored in a database is easy to retrieve and manipulate for data analysis purposes. In this course, we'll look at how to use databases in Python. We'll create and manipulate databases in SQLite, MySQL, and Postgres. We'll experiment with these databases using special Python modules that implement the Python Database API, as well as an object relational mapping tool called SQL Alchemy. Once we discover how to create a few small programs that interact with the database, we'll integrate database interactions into a Flask application using Python. Of course, Python is known for its uses in data analytics, so we'll also cover how to work with databases in a data analysis setting. Hi, my name is Catherine Hodge, and I'm a software developer. I invite you to join me in my LinkedIn Learning course all about working with databases in Python so you can level up your Python applications. Let's get started. To take this course, you should have experience using the Python programming language. This course is meant for Python developers that want to add database interactions and database functionality to their applications. Keeping that in mind, we'll be working with Python 3 in this course. Python 2.7 and Python 3 are very similar, so you shouldn't have too much trouble picking up the concepts if you're more familiar with Python 2.7. However, the libraries and modules we use in the course may not be compatible, so you might need to use a different version of a module if you're working in Python 2.7. I also won't be using an IDE in this course, as to avoid introducing a new unrelated software. Using a plain text editor will keep the focus on Python and the databases we're working with, but you're welcome to use an IDE you're familiar with instead. To write code, I'll be using Sublime, which is a popular code text editor that you'll likely recognize. And to run code, I'll be using the command line. We'll also be working with only relational databases in this course, specifically SQLite, MySQL, and Postgres. Everyone says these databases differently. Is it MySQL or MySQL? In the real world, it's both. Some developers say SQLite, and others say SQLite. You should be familiar with both ways of saying the technology. It's just like data and data. They both refer to the same thing, and I'll use both ways to refer to the technologies throughout the course. Speaking of relational databases, this course focuses on how to use relational databases with Python. Ideally, you have experience with basic SQL commands and have maybe worked with relational databases before. If you haven't, I encourage you to check out the Programming Foundations Databases course to familiarize yourself with databases. Now, if you want to work with databases in Python right away, the first few videos in the first chapter will give you a quick overview of how databases work and should be enough to get you started. With that, let's jump into it.